So without further ado, I would like to bring the mic to Linda for my first question, which is, what are the current challenges the fashion industry is facing? We see, for example, consumer sentiment continuing to drop since last year, as well as a growing urgency around consolidation on both the brand and the retailer side. So what are your thoughts in that space?
Thank you, Luna. First of all, thank you for having me here as in this first webinar. You're asking me a crystal ball question, right? What are the challenges? What will shape the future of fashion? The uncertainty has never been as high as today. We are coming out of 5 years of extremely volatile environment. We have geopolitical tensions in all parts of the world, and the consumer is absolutely feeling it. So in all our businesses, be it brands, be it retailers, we suffer from very low consumer sentiment. This is affecting all parts of the industry. I would say the value segment and the luxury segment are still the most resilient one. Who is suffering the most is the mass segment, premium, and also affordable luxury, because who was buying into luxury as a one-off, once in a lifetime purchase is not buying there anymore. So what do I see as the traits of the winners? Winners are those who are ultra focused on who their customers are, how they can really speak to the customer's needs and wants and desires, and are extremely self-confident about who they are and how they can best serve this consumer. This is as an overall theme. The challenges that I see here being most discussed in the industry are threefold, I would say. One is, given the volatility of the times, stock and inventory levels are a massive problem, because basically I'm never right with my forecast. Changes are so rapid that I either am overstocked or I'm understocked, both on the brand and retailer side. There was actually a recent Boston Consulting study that established that retailers use 12% of their annual revenue because of poor inventory decisions. So that is a huge challenge, because it's the fundament of profitability and liquidity. If you have too much stock tied in inventory, too much cash tied in inventory, the risk running out of business is very, very high. Second challenge is AI and digitization is on everyone's minds. It is on top of everyone's agenda, but the question is how. There are many that are trying out left and right ChatGPT in their everyday lives, but in business, how do I really approach digitization in a way that is suitable for my company, and in a way that the team can really work with it, and that I don't lose the team over the implementation of 3, 4, 5, 12 new digital tools. And the third challenge that I see is the huge uncertainty related to sustainability. I'm sure every one of us, especially on the brand side, has really gathered around, how can we implement the EU regulations. Now, sustainability is somehow wiped off the political agenda in some parts of this world, but at the same time, uncertainty remains with regards to what will be enforced and when it will be enforced. I see a lot of startups offering solutions for digital passport-like solutions. But here the question is, how much do I need as a brand to invest now? And where do I start in a way? This can be huge and also huge investment, but will it pay off? Will the consumer pay for it, or will it come off my gross margin?
Yeah, those sound like pretty big, tough challenges to handle nowadays. So yeah, over to you, Alice. What do you think are the biggest technological innovations that are currently being adopted in the industry, and how could these possibly be an answer to the challenges that we just heard from Linda?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I fully align with what Linda says on AI. I see a big interest, have many talks with sales directors or in management level on how is AI affecting fashion wholesale, but very low adoption. So when you ask for the adoption question, so where you really see it going from management decision to, sales floor operations, it's actually the EDI, sales and inventory data, and smart replenishment topics. What these two have in common, so AI and other digitizing your business developments as well as EDI and smart rep, is the need to make your business more data driven. That's a common topic from these two. And what I see the last 5 years for our industry is that actually we've shown quite a big step collecting data, and that's the more difficult part of the work to get that done. So you see more and more brands that instead of getting from, depending on the size of the brand, from 20 up to 100, they've now getting sales and inventory data from maybe 500 retailers. And another big channel that's not fashion wholesale, but is their own e-com channel where they get data. On the other hand, you also see that you have all the new tech players, e-com players, they're very used to making data available via APIs, but also the classical software players, so the ERPs, they have improved making data available via APIs or CSVs. So that's really good that, the last 5 years, data availability has gone up. We're not there yet, but that's a trend and it's consistent. The second step is also taken. So we have a lot of data, and through the adoption of BI tools, Power BI, for example, this leads to insights. So we can also consume the data, understand what the data says. The final step, I see some adoptions, but I see a lot of room for development there. That is to make the data actionable. So that means that, we get the data, we make it visible, but then actually instead of making it visible, you connect it to a next tool or an actionable output. And smart replenishment is a concrete example, because there something is sold, that data is transferred, then it goes into another system which check, is there still stock, and then automatically an order is placed. So then it's really actionable. And overall, I think our industry is becoming better in connecting brands and retailers digitally, which I think is positive. Now, having discussed this, how does this answer to the challenges that Linda mentioned? So I think smart rep, smart replenishment, EDI, sales and inventory all aligns with the stock risk management. You see a push and pull there. So brands are asked to take more stock, which adds risk to the business, which then you need sales and inventory to be able to take these kind of risks. Brands move with that, but then, with uncertainty, they cut again because, it is adding risk. So here you see a development, and you see the technical solutions that are needed to continue this development for good stock management. And to be honest, it's similar for retailers. Some retailers have too high inventory levels, and these kind of technologies can manage that better. Digitization. Well, as said, AI, we're not in the implementation phase, but I do see an increased speed of adoption of digital showrooms. And I would also like to dig deeper later into maybe collection design, 3D collection design, and content generation. So these are other topics that I see some movement. And then we have sustainability, where I'm fully with Linda that it's a bit slower last 6 months, politically, but also regulations. However, it gives our industry a chance to operationally start getting the data on article level, to know your product journey, have the right sustainability attributes, because it's also quite clear that if you take a longer time horizon, like 5 to 10 years, we will continue that direction. But of course, it's not a straight line. So there's been a lot of push. Now there's a little bit less push, but it's also good because our industry was not ready to present all this data. So it gives us a moment to collect it.
All right. Thank you so much for all of those insights. Very interesting. It seems like data is a big sort of central theme, red thread that goes through all of these answers. The next question is actually also for you, Alice, which is, how are these innovations actually impacting businesses in fashion at the moment?
Yeah, I think high level, working data driven enhances your opportunities as a brand. It reduces your risk. It makes your organization more flexible. But I want to make that tangible. So I'm going to do a bit of screen sharing and questions to all of you. So be prepared. But we're a physical product industry. But I think there will be changes in how brands and retailers operate in different steps of the product life cycle. So let's start on the brand side. I'm going to mention 4. So the first one, let's look at collection design and sample productions. It's an interesting trend because if you look at the past years, 3D designs actually has a pullback. The benefits are quite clear, but the costs were really high. And I have actually 2 questions. Could it be that AI will give this topic a new boost because it makes it easier, better, cheaper, a combination of these? Or will CapEx appetite increase? So will there be higher spending again on this? So what I did see, one of our recent customers for the showroom, it's called CWF. It's a kidswear brand. They pulled it off. So they used the showroom to present 3D designed items that were never, there was never a sample produced. And also Zalando in April, they acquired Deep AR, a 3D and augmented reality company. So you see that there's continued experiments there. And yeah, sometimes I find the examples a bit cheesy, but I do want to share one example with you. So I think some of you are familiar with at least the design of this shoe, right? But this one specifically has never been produced. I think if we go on this picture, you can see it a bit from the laces. So you see that technology continues to improve here, but recently I've seen also a bit of a pullback. So it was just one example that I wanted to share. This shoe can be purchased on Zalando. It's a live item, so it's beyond it's still in exploration, but it's live phase, let's say. Then I wanted to mention 2, well, I will not show it, but there's another. Oh, I am actually showing my next slide. Wait, give me a second. Oh, Luna, you are sharing. Okay, it's gone. Perfect. Then next topic, content generation. So one company some of you might know. So there's Bright River. It's what they do is they take a model images from a pack shot and they take a pack shot and create a model image on top of that. And the other is Pixel. I think they generate product data based on images. So these are also trends where I really see adoption and growth, and yeah, you see the product maturity grow, I would say. And then the third one, it's showroom presentation. So this is affecting both brands and retailers. During COVID, brands went as fast as they could, putting their hands on something to make a remote order intake possible, but it was really around being remote and taking in an order. But now you see brands investigating better, okay, what fits my brand's strategy? How do I want to present my collection in the showroom physically, but with the help of tools? And then it's more than order entry tool, because then it's really about what collection do I want to present to what retailer and what consumer of this retailer do I have in mind? So you see clean, as a result, you see clean targeted showrooms depending on the buyer, and also order proposals that are maybe a step further already, shorter order intake, and it makes it also easier for brands to sell in between collections. And then, Luna, you were already showing it. Can you share your screen again? Because also we as Fashion Cloud, we start to experiment with AI, right? And we are doing this together with brands. So the question is going to come to you guys all soon. But we want to see, okay, how can we use the data and AI to come up with better order proposals? So Luna, can you share your screen again?
Oh, just a sec. I thought I was. Just a sec.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So on the left, you see the question, can you recommend best-selling, colorful products, right? So it takes the database of sales and inventory data. It maybe takes also, depending on the input, right? Because, yeah, in the end, it's a bot that you train on your data. And then it comes with an output, these items, and you could add them to the order. This is very early days. I think it's not yet ideal that a buyer and a salesperson in a showroom start chatting with a bot. It could also be that the salesperson prepares it, but again, we're in experimental phase. Because I do think that if you use not only historical data, but also you take sales vision as well as designer. So what are the, the key items that we want to push? Together with other macro data, you could make better selections per buyer, which is based on region, size of the retailer, etc. And also the retail input matters here, of course. So now comes my question to you, because we're gonna continue with this summer. What would be AI development in fashion wholesale that you would seem useful? And I think this is another Slido question, and you don't need to write a whole sentence, but if you can just blurb out some words, that would be interesting to read. And I would be interested maybe in a showroom, so in the forward order process, or broader in fashion wholesale or fashion tech. I'm curious what this audience think.
Well, we see the answers popping up. A reflection from my side. As a fashion industry, we are all very visual and very emotional characters involved here, right? So everyone loves to, touch and see and try on garments. But at the same time, the consumer is getting used more and more to more sophisticated solutions. So I do think here we really need to challenge our habits and learn new behaviors that combine the creativity and the emotionality that makes fashion fascinating and desirable with the power of the digital technological opportunities that we have.
Yeah.
So on the screen, we're already getting some really nice inputs and ideas of the people dialing in. Smart suggestions and replenishment are, I think, our top two. Forecasting, indeed. Showing certificates, interesting.
Yeah, and how to use it for more sustainable choices I saw popping by. Okay, quite some ideas.
Nice. Yeah.
Thanks all. Yeah, one of the big
nice.
ones, the smart suggestions and replenishment, that's actually the fourth one I want to briefly touch upon, but indeed, smart replenishment recommendations for reorder. We see that retailers in DACH and Benelux, we're really in rollout phase, at least for, let's say, algorithm-based reorder, not yet AI-based reorder. In France, Italy, and the Nordics, you see the first retailers also going live with that. And I think that will be one of the first one in adoption phase, if you ask me, because it's already more automated, there's more data, so it's easier to put AI on top than with pre-order. But I do think within 12 months also the first adoption of forward order will be visible in our industry. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, everybody, for your input on this AI question. It's very insightful for us as well to continue our testing phase and exploration phase here at Fashion Cloud. Just because I'm taking a look at the clock, I have another question for you, Linda, which is, I think, a continuation of the topic that we've been handling so far. And that is if we, or if fashion businesses, and I think in particular brands, but to a certain extent also retailers, if we want to put digitization higher on the agenda, so what considerations should we take into account?
I would say, first consider equally the technological solutions that are suitable for you and, the team constellation. It's so important that the company, the whole team stands behind it and sees digitization as an empowerment and enrichment and, making yourself smarter in your work, not substituting what you bring. But that requires on the human side, and that is my second point, a continuous learning journey. We are all learning a new language here. And it's hard. We are used to our routines and our processes, but we need to fundamentally redesign processes and rethink how we operate. And that takes time to change. So embrace that journey, that change. Take it as a, I don't know where you stand in life, but let's say midlife opportunity to learn something completely new, right? Because this will make you, every single participant here, a better professional going forward. Read up on what AI can do for you, or what digital solutions can already be applied to your field of work, whichever department you're working in the fashion industry. And last point, more for management and the boardrooms, consciously decide whether you want to invest time on digitization and AI, or money, or both, and in which sequence. It can be smart to first commit time to it, and then when you know where you stand, where you want to go, then to invest money, rather than go basically closing that discussion, arguing that you don't have the financial means, or you're not profitable enough yet to invest in digitization. I think that's a too easy way out. You can always start by investing extra time.
Very interesting. And I agree. I think no matter how far you are in your career, you're never finished learning, right? So you're always in the continuous development. All right, so I think we're coming at the end of today's live webinar. Before we close off, I just wanted to ask both Alice and Linda, maybe I'll start with Alice. Are there any closing thoughts that you have, any tips or recommendations that you want to give to the people here?
Well, may I ask if there's a last question from the public, maybe? So I think that would be interesting if there's one or two left. If not, then I would say, look, it comes down, it's always this interaction between having thoughts, to strategic thoughts, and then implementation. And if I look at our industry, it's really a time for more time and money on implementation and operationally getting it done. So the thinking about it, I think, I mean, except with AI, which is really the newest thing, but all the other digitization topics, there's a lot of thinking and discussing done already. But the dirty work is really implementation. Yeah.
Linda?
Yeah, my closing thought would be deepen your relationships with your customers. Because in times of uncertainty, understanding your customers, where they stand, what they need, and serving them best is the #1 priority above everything else. And then be simple enough, fast enough, and flexible in adapting. That will be key to win in this volatile environment. So simplicity, speed, and adaptability.
Amazing. All right. Thank you both, Linda and Alice, for your time.
Do we see one question?
Is there a question?
Could you please repeat the names of the companies which are working with AI models for product content? Yes, I can put them in the chat.
And while Alice does that, just some closing words, I think. A big thank you to Linda and Alice again for taking the time and sharing their super useful insights and experiences. I think it's very unique to have you both on camera like this. So very grateful for having the opportunity. I hope, of course, the audience has taken some useful takeaways. And again, we will share the recording for anyone who wasn't able to join in live. If you have any questions following this webinar, always feel free to reach out to us. And we hope to see you soon for our next webinar, which will be a deep dive into digital showrooms. So thank you so much again, and see you for the next one.